this should be a short presentation today. We're not going to have a whole lot of content, but some good information to share with you guys today. And the other part of it is there will be a Q&A. So feel free to post your questions out on the chat. And as we're presenting, we might answer them some in stream, or we might wait to answer them at the end live and with audio. So feel free to drop questions in chat or wait till the end, and we'll answer them as we go along. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. So today we'll be covering some agenda items. Basically going to cover some of the new releases that came out in the June-July timeframe. Studio Assist being one of them, Katalon Studio AI Assistant, TestCloud CI/CD integration and some improvements in the TestCloud space, and then an update to the Visual Testing Professional package that I think you will all find very interesting. So let's get started with Studio Assist. Today, you have me, Armando Wershing, the Product Marketing Director for Katalon. And joining me today is also Chris Dion, our Product Marketing Manager, will be your hosts and your, hopefully, answer givers for today. We'll start with Studio Assist, the Studio Assistant, which provides some awesome functionality on Katalon Studio. And to talk about it and give you a brief demo, we've got Chris. Chris, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Armando. So what we're going to be doing today is just quickly showing you how easy it is to implement and utilize Studio Assist. Now, as of 8.6.5 of Katalon Studio, this is going to be a beta version of this capability. So just understand that the functionalities will be expanded upon in future releases. Now, to give you a quick demonstration of what this looks like, we have our test case here. Again, I'll just make this a little bit more streamlined so we can all understand it. We have a test case here. This test case is in the script view. The script view can easily be accessed through the script tab. And what we have here is a user that has developed out a essentially a manual test script, but has written out a function as well that they want to turn into code. Now, the main benefit behind this is that if there are people who want to incorporate and contribute these test assets, but don't have the automation experience to create these things, whether that be more of a business users, they can simply just go inside of the Katalon Studio Enterprise and type them out as a comment. We can then highlight a specific section or line of code that we want to do, right-click it and go down to Studio Assist, and then we can either go for generate or explain. The generate code will turn text to code, and then the explain will turn code to text. In this case, we see here that we were able to create a function named login, which receives two parameters, a username and a password, and then we enter said username in input username text box on the home page. Now, there's a couple of things to be aware of when it comes to as a best practice for this usage. First off, the input username is in fact referencing the object repository, where we have the page home, which is where we are storing this folder right here. And then we are referencing the input username object listed right here in that folder. So I'll just cancel that. So what we have here is that we're referencing objects in the object repository in a plain text fashion, and we are turning those into test scripts. Just a little key things to be aware of. The other thing is that if you are wanting to utilize Studio Assist, you will need to create a OpenAI account so that you have access to a secret key that you'll be creating on their end. You'll then be importing that secret key into Katalon Studios so that we can then utilize OpenAI's ChatGPT capabilities and turn these texts into scripts and scripts into explanation. This is easily done by going into the Windows, Katalon Studio Preferences, go into Katalon's drop-down menu, and then go to Studio Assist. Once you copy and paste your secret into this window, you will then be able to apply and then have access to it as you saw here today. Now, real quick, I also want to showcase to you the explanation and kind of give you an idea of it. For a lot of people, or I should say for a lot of new people, when they start looking at a lot of this kind of text, they have no idea what's going on, right? Code is not something that can be easily interpreted as fast as understanding, a line of text. So what we can easily do, that we can highlight sections of codes, a line of code, etc. We do the same thing we did with generating code, except this time we select the explain code. And what is going to happen is that it is going to turn this into a documentation, right? So if you are very quick at writing code, but you don't want to take time to write the comments to explain said code, you can easily do that and have a fast documentation process made for you. In this case, you can see here, this is what we, at the top part, this is what we created, or this is the code, and this is the actual explanation that we provide. And again, it says in plain text, purpose of the code is to delay the execution for 3 seconds, take a screenshot, and verify the presence of an element and match the URL. All of this is easily created and done in a fast, expedited way. Again, Katalon is all about finding those ways to reduce the time needed to create and to maintain these test cases over the long period of time so that you have a better return on your investments and focus more on test creation rather than the test maintenance side of things. With that being said, that is pretty much Studio Assist as of right now. Again, this will be expounded on further into the future. So please look forward to seeing new features being added in coming updates. So with that being said, I'll pass it back to Armando if he has anything he wants to add. Yeah.
So that Studio Assist, this will be just the first implementation, and you'll find this in the Studio 8.6.7.beta build that's deployed out there currently. This is the initial deployment of Studio Assist. We'll be adding additional features and capabilities to it, making it even more valuable for kind of those existing developers that want to just quickly create some stuff or some code and know exactly what they want, or for maybe those beginning quality assurance or quality engineers that are just starting to dip their toes into the code side and want to have a better understanding of what certain lines of code or sections of code do as they continue their journey. So I do see a couple questions. We're going to go ahead and save those for the end. Let's move on to the next section. So TestCloud. For those of you who don't know, or for those of you, TestCloud is our on-demand SaaS service for test executions. It provides test executions for Windows, for web, a variety of browsers, and also for mobile apps. So this June, we saw a release of an update to TestCloud to include a whole range of updated and new browser settings, browser support, pardon me, and some improved performance and some CI/CD integration. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chris, and he'll cover the details.
Awesome. So yes, as Armando has stated, this is all going to be streamlining the process of including TestCloud with your CI/CD pipeline integrations. We do have a few slides to go through, as well as a couple of explanation points, right? So for those who are familiar with Jenkins, this is very much going to be an example that you'll be using. However, the process is going to be fairly the same, right? Which is the fact that we are going to have a pipeline. That pipeline is then going to take in some command arguments. And those command arguments are going to be generated within Katalon Studios. So here we have a new pipeline. We create a build step. Jenkins has a specific Katalon Studio test build step, and then we can then fill it out through the version of Katalon Studios. This is something that you'll see not only in Jenkins but also in many other CI/CDs like Azure. And then we have these command arguments that we have developed. These command arguments can be created inside of Katalon Studios within the build command. This is simply put, fill in this form, and then you'll generate a command. This command will then provide you all of the needed environments. Just to make sure you select run with the TestCloud options rather than just the environments. Otherwise, you'll be targeting the runtime engine instead of the TestCloud. Once you have those arguments, you'll paste it inside of here or in the respected arguments text field, and then you'll be able to kick off your your pipeline. Once the pipeline executes and gets to that Katalon build step, you will then target TestCloud for execution. This is all done very seamlessly and very quickly for your testing needs.
Awesome.
So with that, yeah, perfect.
So the next piece, go ahead, next slide, is the AI visual testing update. So starting with late in June, early July, an update was released where the Visual Testing Professional, which is our existing AI visual testing capabilities that were released last year, is now part of the Katalon platform, aka TestOps, which is the product that not all of you folks might be using. We have a lot of customers that are basically just using Studio for authoring tests and possibly KRE for executing those tests in parallel on premises. If you're using TestCloud also as well, we'll do that directly from Studio. But visual testing is available when you allow or enable TestOps and the Katalon platform to manage and execute your testing for you. The power of this is that beyond just traditional pixel comparison testing, visual testing leverages AI to do two additional modes of visual testing and validation. One is a layout-based comparison, which basically looks at the structures on the page, buttons, images, visual references, lines, etc., and make sure that they are all in the same relative place between test executions. And then there's also a text-based comparison where we're actually looking at the text within a page, and more so the content of it, not necessarily if it's a different font or a different size, but making sure that the text content itself is the same, especially useful for environments or applications where you're having very specific compliance or regulatory needs, and you have to make sure that specific text is visible on the petition page or that section of the application. So two additional powers there, AI-powered capabilities for visual testing that you can take advantage of now when using the Katalon platform. There is an unlimited number of checkpoint images. So if your test requires 4, 5, 6 checkpoints to test against the baselines, feel free and add them. The only limit to the execution of visual tests is now directly related to the number of test results that you have signed up for on the Katalon platform. So it's especially useful for all those UI and UX related requirements that you may have, and to make sure that not only functionally do the buttons and text boxes and such work correctly, but also that they are actually being displayed properly. So an excellent value and a new feature of the TestOps platform for you to use. And that takes us to the end. As I mentioned, today was going to be a relatively short level of content. We look forward to doing this again in the next month and bringing you some more information on the upcoming releases. A lot of them are going to be related to AI capabilities that are going to be coming out on the platform. As I mentioned, the Studio Assist is available on Studio 8.6.7.beta, and make sure you go download that version if you want to try it out. And also the visual testing is available now on the Katalon platform. It's both free and on the paid tiers. So regardless of where you're at, you'll be able to use that. Feel free to start looking at that. And the CI/CD integration for TestCloud, the documentation is out there on resources. You can check those out at any time. So I'm going to go here to the chat and let's see what questions we've got out there. Let's see. First question. Would that mean, this was in relation to Studio Assist, would that mean that it would be best to have discovered all the objects in your application before using this? The simple answer to that, yes, you usually want to go ahead and have all that reference. That doesn't necessarily mean that the AI will leverage those objects, but we will follow up on that and maybe add that to one of the FAQs for Studio Assist this month. Chris, do you have any more information on that one?
Yeah, again, what we want to encourage with the Studio Assist is the fact that we are enabling a user that is often relegated to BDD, right? So we have people who use Cucumber and have a whole separate type of testing. What we want to avoid and what we're trying to create is an environment where people can contribute across the same test assets to create the same test cases and enable these users to actually do those exact same things, right? So what we are doing is that we're introducing not a new way of creating test cases, but a new user to contribute its knowledge and their efforts to create with existing test cases and test assets like the object repository. This is again going to be further built out into the future. We can't go into those because that is, obviously going to be in a roadmap discussion rather than just what we're talking about with the Roundup. But we have many things that we are going to build on top of Studio Assist to address, those object repositories based identifications.
Awesome. All right. The next question is again related to Studio Assist. Is how useful is Studio Assist when being used with Windows applications, so desktop apps?
So as of right now, the Studio Assist that I have tested, again, not what I have seen, but I have only tested it against web applications. That being said, I would have to double check on my end and see if that's possible for a Windows application specifically.
Awesome. Let's see. The next question is, we have a couple questions related to, we'll jump over to the Jenkins CI/CD support. I noticed that in the download field that it referenced version 8.5.2. What version of Katalon does Jenkins support?
Jenkins supports a large breadth of Katalon. The exact number, I can quickly look.
We're looking this up live, folks.
Yeah,
I do know that
meantime,
recording was made in a dev environment or a pre-release environment, so that particular version may have not been specific. And we'll have to go back and look at the video, but we'll double check that for you real quick. The next while he's looking that up, Chris, let me know when you found it. The next question is related to OpenAI. I don't see OpenAI. Can I get it? Yes. So you'll have to download the beta, the Studio 8.76 beta. In order to download that, there is a document, and I will find that and post that before the end of the session. But there is a reference document in our online that I'll post a link to, and that will walk you through how to go out and download that version. The last question is a little bit more vague, so I'm going to ask Ivan to maybe elaborate on a little bit. Can we use AI in mobile tests? Is that question related to Studio Assist, that AI feature, GPT feature, or are you specifically talking about more advanced AI features? If you want to jump in there and drop another explanation of that, I'll be happy to answer it. Studio Assist. So the AI is not going to be active during test executions. So it's not, for example, it's not going to be a reactive AI, a test execution that reacts to what it sees. What it is there is to help it's GPT based. So it's taking natural language prompts provided by the user. In this case, what you're giving it is the highlighted section of text. We've built a wrapper around that with specific prompts around it that capture information about Katalon Studio and what's going on. And we send that off and it generates back the code, or it interprets the code and generates the text. So that's the extent of this Studio Assist release. Again, as far as down, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead if you're continuing the answer.
I was going to go on to the next question. So if you have something more to add to that one, go ahead, Chris.
No, the integration with Jenkins. So I have checked both our documentations, Jenkins documentation. It seems like there is not a specific version or range of versions that we support. So it should just be one-to-one. So unless you're working with a very, very, very archaic version of Jenkins, which I highly doubt many people are, it should work with the version that you have right now.
Awesome. I've just posted the Studio Assist instructions, or the page that provides the instructions for downloading the Studio Assist version. So you'll find that link there. It's in the Katalon docs section of our website. The last thing is, does the trial version have Studio Assist? Yes, Studio Assist is available on all the versions of Studio, or will be available on all the versions of Studios. But in particular, you'll have to download that 8.6.7 beta build. And again, that link on how to do that is found on the chat right now. Is there a document? No, we don't have that. So the question was, let me read that properly. Is there a document that shows structure for the text to command structure? No. The intent is to use natural language. So as you write, or as the developer or the QA writes and describes the actions that they want the test to take, we are just using that. And again, using behind the scenes the prompts and accommodation prompts, and of course the OpenAI GPT engine to generate the code. So the whole point of GPT is to be able to use natural language and do interpretations and generate the appropriate results or responses, so that you don't have to follow a specific syntax. I don't see any additional questions. So with that, I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out either in the community or to your Katalon representative. Again, we're looking to have these every month or every other month as the number of releases provide. We'll be providing updates, demos, so keep posted, register for this product roundup that we'll be sending out on a regular basis and having. This video will be available, so feel free to share it with your peers. You'll get an email when the video is posted. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the comments there in the YouTube video. Or again, please visit your community and let us hear about what you think of this Studio Assist. We want to hear from you and get your feedback so that this product continues to become more and more valuable and powerful. With that said, from Armando and from Chris, thanks again. Have a great day, a great afternoon, or a good evening. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.